basically it used to get like pinned to the wall because it would be Star Writer every week because I was a cracking writer at like 6, by the way. Not so much now, but at 6, oh, I was good. Hello everyone and welcome to another Writing Werewolf video. This is my Authortube Newbie Tag. Since this is a channel dedicated to reading and writing, I figured I'd do both a booktube tag and an Authortube tag, so here we are. So this is 13 questions, all about writing. So question number 1, how did you find out about Authortube? I actually didn't know it was a thing. I knew booktube was a thing, I didn't know Authortube was a thing, until I happened to, like, I knew that there were like videos about like writing tips and things like that, but I didn't know there was like a dedicated like community, until I happened to find someone, I can't remember who it was, someone else's videos, and I watched a few and I was like, oh, Authortube is a thing, this seems right up my alley. I'd actually already made 2 videos on writing before I even knew Authortube was a thing. So yeah. Next question, what genres do you write in? I tend to write horror and fantasy. Sometimes a bit of sci-fi. It's normally horror and fantasy. It's normally quite dark fantasy as well. That's what I find most interesting. That's what I find most, I guess, easiest to write. So yeah, mostly speculative fiction, but mostly within that horror and fantasy. What is your preferred writing tense, point of view, and demographic? So I prefer to write past tense. Nice and simple, classic past tense. Point of view is normally third person, but sometimes I write short stories in second person. I wrote a very nice horror short story called Teeth, and that's in second person. It's about going to the dentist. And I'm quite proud of that one, actually. And the demographic that I write for is normally adult. Yeah, adult, because some of them can be a bit dark. Next question, are you a plotter, a pantser, or a plantser? I am a plantser. I don't really like these terms, but I am a plantser. I will occasionally, for big projects like novels, I'll write an outline and I'll just come up with the outline on the fly and write down the outline, write the first draft according to the outline, and then change it from there. Short stories and things like that, sometimes I just sit down and I write. I won a short story competition 2 years ago now, and the story that I entered and won that competition with, I just sat and wrote. It just came to me one afternoon, I just wrote it and it won, so it must have been good enough. I mean, guess pantsers can win things too. Next question, are you self-published, published, or yet to be published? I am yet to be published. Kind of. I mean, the short story that won a competition, they published that, and I got published in another short story. Got published in like a book that was going in the museums where I live. It was associated with like the art gallery that they had on at the time. But everything else, I'm yet to be published. What is your dream publishing house and or literary agent? Do people have these? I've never once, wanted to work for a specific, want to be published by a specific publishing house or by a specific literary agent. I'll take what I can get, to be honest. It's all about the story for me. It's not about the publication. Is like a nice end goal, and I would love to be published, but it is more about writing the story for me than being published. And I don't have like mood boards of like specific literary agents. I think that's a bit weird. What Authortube related videos can we expect to find on your channel? So I currently haven't 2 edit with me videos, and I'm planning on doing more videos on how I finished my second draft, because that's what I struggled with before I started, was finding ways that people had, or places where people had talked about doing their second drafts. So I'm planning to make a video on that when I finish, and probably more videos talking about sort of writing related things. I entered a writing competition on Reddit a couple months ago, and I want to discuss that and my experience with that. But yeah, things like that, interesting things. Probably not writing tips, because I don't think I'm qualified to give those, but we'll see. When did you start writing? I started writing It sounds cliche, but probably when I like picked up a pencil for like the very first time, I used to sit around with wee notebooks and just make wee stories, and I used to tell people stories, and that was my thing as a child. They'd be like, "Oh, it's that weird kid with the notebook again." What was the first story I ever wrote? So the first story that I ever wrote was, the first one I remember writing, that I like proper like took seriously and remember writing, was, I can't remember what it was called, but it was basically a retelling of Goldilocks and the Three Bears. So it was like, in primary school we'd have like a half hour, like an hour of like writing session like per week, and at the end of the week whoever wrote the best story would get like star writer. And I remember for one entire term I just wrote one, like a single story, and it was this Goldilocks and the Three Bears retelling, and it was like Goldilocks and the baby bear were friends, and they went off to go and find treasure, and they found pirate treasure, and I can't remember what happens after that. I think I still have a copy somewhere, but I'm not entirely sure where it is. But basically it used to get like pinned to the wall because it would be star writer every week, because I was a cracking writer at like 6, by the way. Not so much now, but at 6, oh, I was good. And it used to get pinned to the wall every week, and then when writing time came around again, we used to take it off the wall and I would continue it. I think it must have been about 15 like double-sided A4 pages long, like by the time I was finished, and eventually they were like, okay, you can't keep writing this, we need to write something else. But yeah, that was my first story that I remember writing. What authors have inspired your writing the most? So I met Stuart McBride. Stuart McBride is my favourite crime author, and he's from sort of not this area, but he's from nearish. He came for a book signing a couple of times, and I went with my mum the first time I met him. I think it was like 14 or 15 or something like that, and she happened to mention to him that I was into writing, and he gave me advice, and he was like, don't give up, it might be hard, just keep going, just do it. And I quite cherished that advice. I was quite touched that he would take time to give me advice like that. So he's definitely someone that's inspired me a lot. Also, one of my favourite childhood authors was Anthony Horowitz. And like the Stormbreaker books and is it the Raven's Gate books? I can't remember what the series is called. But they really, and the young James Bond ones, really, really inspired me when I was a kid to keep writing and to write that sort of like out there, maybe not strictly true to reality stories. Do you schedule your writing sessions or simply get to writing when you find the time? I just write whenever I have time. I work shifts, so whenever I'm not working, whenever I'm not researching or writing things for the blog or reading, I will be writing or scrolling through Reddit, but mostly writing. Do you type on a computer, typewriter, write everything out by hand, or use a blend of those, and where do you write in general? Generally I write on a computer. Sometimes I would occasionally handwrite short stories by hand, handwrite short stories, but my wrists now are quite weak and I can't do that anymore. I do have 2 typewriters, but one of them needs a new ribbon, and the other one, both of them need new ribbons actually. I used to write with my typewriter for a while, and then my sister complained that it was too loud, so I stopped, and then I went back to a computer. Where do you write in general? I have a desk, but I don't tend to write there. I tend to write downstairs in the kitchen for some reason. I don't know why. Before, when I lived in a flat for university, I used to sit up in my room and I used to write in my room. I need like a big desk. I need like space for all these ideas. What are you most looking forward to now that you're a part of Authortube? Friends. I'm most looking forward to friends and having people to talk to about writing and meeting members of this new community, and meeting lots of nice new people. So thank you for watching. If you have, I think that's me covered everything. If you have any comments, let me know. If you want to answer any of these questions, let me know. Tell me what you think in the comments. And I'll see you guys later. Bye!